Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the video. And in this one, we're going to be in the T-54 Lightweight, and we're going to be looking at Ghost Town. I don't believe I've covered Ghost Town with my new types of videos that I've been doing about map awareness and map strategy. I might have covered it, but if I did, it was quite some time ago. And we're going to talk about this map. This is kind of, I want to call it an interesting map, but it's really not. I mean, you have the city in the middle, and then you have the two sides of the map, east and west. In my opinion, I feel that west is a little more important, but I'm going to go east here, and I like making this play, guys. You will see a lot of light tanks make this play on the east side of this map, and you could do it from the other spawn as well, just like the CS63 is doing, except I was able to light him because he's not really sitting in this bush. But I like to come to this bush on Ghost Town from, again, either the south spawn or the north spawn starting out. You can try and take one of these bushes here or here on the west. It's a big circle. I didn't mean to draw it that big. But there's one here, and you can come here and try and get maybe a shot or two at people that are coming this way or people that are coming this way if you want to experiment with the west. If you have an aggressive tank such as the T-54 Lightweight, you can also make brawling kind of work in the west, but this is really for mediums that are good hold down and also have a lot of gun depression. The way the hill works over in the west, you need gun depression to make it work. So anyway, what I was going to say is I like coming to the east. I take this bush here. As long as you're not spotted, you will light people even as far as where the Foch 155 is. You can see we are lighting this guy, what is this, 435 meters away currently. And he'd started backing away, so yes, it was a little closer than that. But with the CVS and all that, and look, we're spotting the Jagdtiger at 410, 420 meters out. And what's most important about this spot, with CVS, you will also knock down the concealment of people such as the Char Model 75 that decided to, go through here like so, right? The Char Model 75 does not have excellent concealment, so the CVS was able to cut it down enough where I was able to punch through the bush rather, with just the game mechanics, right? And we were able to light him, and thank God, right? Otherwise, the Model 75 would have made it here. If this was an even 90 or something, we would have never spotted him, and he would have been sitting here. But this spot is nice because if you get a tank that doesn't have quite as much concealment, and they're trying to sneak through here, you might be able to light them. Where the Leo 1 is also an option, but I just feel like the way the angling is, you don't really get as good of a spot, or I should say as good of, how can I explain it? Like your angle for spotting isn't as good because when you sit here, just pause for a second. When you sit here, like where the Leo 1 is, you have this bush kind of blocking you and like this little hill and stuff. Where I was, we were able to clearly spot like the Foch and the Jagdtiger, right? So I'm gonna move up now, and this is kind of risky, the play I made here, because if you don't have a lot of concealment, you might get lit from someone that's sitting over here. You could even get lit potentially by someone that's like trying to sit like up in here or something like that, or on the corner here. So I would be careful making this play. However, I was like 99% certain that no one was going to light me. I have over 40% concealment on the Lightweight, but I was pretty sure no one was going to light me in this area. Like occasionally you'll get these heavies that'll sit like right here. They might light you. But it's just something you kind of get a feel for, and I just knew like I wasn't going to be lit coming to this bush. So what I'm doing is I'm now coming up to here. I'm not seeing anybody except the CS63. The Foch and Jagdtiger have disappeared. I'm likely thinking that they did this. They're probably back in A4 now, because A4 is where a lot of the tank destroyers like to sit. But it's also possible one of them could be here. And this A0 corner is tricky. It's very tricky because they could sit behind this bush, and you'll never spot them, right? So what I decided to do is I actually take a shot here. The E50 is kind of backing up with me. I didn't want him to do that. I wanted to take a shot and kind of run away. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a shot and then I'm running away from here to see if I'm lit. Now it's possible the CS63 could have lit me, but I believe just from making this spot check, I like to call it a spot check, guys. It's important that you do this occasionally so that you can determine where people are on the map just by using your sixth sense. So I take a shot at the bush here, and I notice that I'm lit as soon as I take the shot. So I'm thinking that it's likely someone is here. It could be the Foch, or it could be another vehicle. The Leo 1 is the only possible tank that could be here, right? Because everyone else has been lit on the map. It's got to be either the Foch or the Leo 1. So that's just me using the knowledge of the game to understand what's in front of me and what's going to happen, right, in the coming minutes and what I have to do. Now, if you look at the map, Foch has been lit. So what does that tell you? Well, it's very likely that the Leo 1 is sitting here. Or maybe it was the CS63 that spotted me, but I don't think so. And sure enough, the Leo 1 appears. So this is like a good example, just me showing you how you guys can use the game mechanics to your advantage. Like, use Sixth Sense. It's a very, very useful tool. It doesn't just tell you when you get spotted necessarily. It can even tell you where people are on the map, right? Say for instance, I sat in, right here, and maybe there were a couple tanks over here, right? This is just an example. If there were a couple enemy tanks over here, right? But maybe there was an enemy sitting in this bush, and the line of sight, this bush is not really covering this bush. So if I wanted to figure out if someone was sitting in this bush, well, if I fire, someone sitting over here likely won't spot me because of this bush line, right? Let's just pretend that these bushes are perfect. Maybe they're like all the way up to here. Like, I wouldn't get spotted making this shot. But if there's no bushes right here and someone is sitting in this area right here and I fire, it'll tell me that someone is sitting in that area, right? Imagine no one else is on this entire map except maybe a couple guys here and a person here. Are you going to even ignore the whole fact that I said someone is here, right? If I fire here and this is open, right, it'll tell me that likely someone is sitting like in this area, right? You can use Sixth Sense as a tool, guys. And I emphasize this because I don't see really anyone else do this. Don't be afraid to use the game mechanics to your advantage. So I'll immediately know that someone is sitting like in this area, right? Just by understanding the game mechanics. If I have bushes all around me, but only one little spot is open where I can be lit, the bushes are clear or there's no bushes, and I fire, the person that spotted me has to be where that opening is. So hopefully I explained that good enough to you. I'm not trying to confuse you guys further, but my whole point in this is just use the game mechanics. So I know that now. Before the Leo 1 was even lit, I already knew he was there, so I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I'm going to run up here, see if I can get a shot into phase 1, and I'm obviously lit. I didn't get the shot into him there, but I know that there's a couple tank destroyers up here, so I'm just going to fling a shot up here. It doesn't really matter if it goes in necessarily. I'm just kind of shooting to put a shot in this direction until I'm able to stay here for 10 seconds, go dark again, and then I'm going to push this. Because what I want to do now is we have all the numbers here. At this point, I need to use my HP, spot everyone in this area, and try and figure out where the CS63 went. I'm pretty sure he's probably down here. If not, he's up on the hill with the other tank destroyers, right? So Jagdtiger is here. It looks like the FV tried to take a shot at him or something, and he missed. We're able to spot him, and now I'm getting shots into the back of the Leo 1 because the Leo 1 hasn't moved. He goes out of my render range. I could take a shot here if I wanted to. I decide not to. I'm going to come up the hill, and CS63 is here. He puts a shot into me. I poke up further. I'm willing to take one shot from the Foch, but I believe he's on reload. I wasn't sure, but the way he kind of looked at me there and didn't fire, I figured he was on reload. So I'm going to let him come down. He comes down, he rams the T-57 Heavy. I'm able to get one shot to him there, and we get a little bit of spotting from it. And then we're going to go after the CS63, and this is a pretty quick game, guys. But watch this. We're going to go after the CS63. I put a shot into him, and I'm going to keep moving. Because at this point, like, this guy can get one more into me, and it's not going to change anything. I know I can take the one more hit, but then I'm going to sprint down away from him. He comes after me, right? And my teammates are able to get the shots, and it's almost like we baited him into coming after me. But I don't think he really cared at that point. I don't think anyone cared. It's 15 to, or I should say 14 to 5 at that point, and he knows he's not going to win the game. It is what it is. But that's it, guys. We had one blind shot. I'll show you that in the end plates, but again, important information for you guys, using the game mechanics to your advantage and just understanding, basically doing like 2 + 2 = 4 while you're on the battlefield, right? Okay, the Leo 1 and the Foch are the only two possible people that could be in A0. Foch got spotted here, it must be Leo 1 that's over here. And again, I'm going to explain this one more time, not to confuse you guys. Like, just imagine, right, if there was bushes all around me, right, in a circle, but there was maybe a little opening in the bushes right here. If I fire and I get spotted, then 99% of the time, unless the game mechanics break, right, the person who spotted me is going to be here. You know, if the only gap in the bushes is here, and there's bushes all like this, because I think the way I explained it before might have been a little confusing, but you have to use this. So when the sixth sense goes off and you get spotted, you're like, all right, he's here, you know. And I do this a lot of times, guys, where I will sit in a bush a particular way, take a test shot, what I like to call a test shot or a spot check, and try and use the sixth sense basically as a map to figure out who's there. So I hope that little tip helps you guys out. And again, to cover Ghost Town, just to kind of summarize this map for you, the west side of this map is better for brawling tanks. I think, this is my personal opinion, I think the west side of this map is more important because of the way the terrain works, right? You have higher ground here, you have two little bush areas right here, and I think that this allows for some better shots into the city, and it's harder to knock people out of this area, in my opinion, than it is for the east. However, you do have a really long bush line in the east as well, so that's something that you have to keep in mind. And you also have these little corners over here that people can get crossfire. So in a way, they're almost equally as important, but I think it also has to do with the people that come over here, right? You get a lot of brawling tanks that come over here, so I just always feel like if you win the west, likely you'll win the game, but I think it depends on who wins which side of the map first. I've said this before when I covered Ghost Town way back. Almost whoever wins their side first will probably win the game, but I think like if they were both won at the same time, say we won the west and they won the east, I think we would win the game just because I think west is a little more important. And I also think it's easier to reset the cap. If we were on the north spawn, I think it's a lot easier to reset the cap from this side than it is from this side. That's just what I think, because you can kind of dive into this little hole over here, like where we are right now. See how there's bushes and stuff, and the way the terrain works, it's really hard to explain to someone who maybe doesn't play the map much, if you can get what I'm saying. But when you play this map enough, you'll understand what I mean. So that's my advice to you. Try and spot the east side of this map if you're comfortable doing so. If not, you can come to one of these bushes right here, guys, and just get initial spots and wait for your team to kind of make some moves here, and then you can try and get maybe a little bit of crossfire or even push up into the city if it's clear, right? Like if you see that your heavies have won, you can push up into the city and stuff. Try and spot this area of the map. It's tricky, man. Like Ghost Town is not an easy map because it's very wide open. You do have this bush line, but look, Char Model 75 got lit here, right where this red dot is. He got wrecked. So it's a tricky map, man. Don't be afraid to kind of make risky plays, but also understand that if you die like early on in the game, a lot of times that's going to lead to your team being blind. But you guys will always hear me say risk equals reward. So sometimes you have to make risky plays, but don't be discouraged, guys. Light tanks are a very challenging class to play. I don't care what your teammates say to you. I don't care what they say in the chat. Trust me when I tell you, light tanks are a very, very hard class to play. The hardest class in the game, and I almost don't even want to say that's my opinion. It's basically a fact. They are like the most difficult class to understand. They have the biggest learning curve. Don't be discouraged, guys. Just learn from your mistakes and move on. If the chat says that you suck, don't worry, because they've told me that I suck thousands of times. So I just don't want you guys being uncomfortable, right, playing light tanks. So 1897 spotting, 1053 damage. Really, me countering the Char Model 75 was the, in my opinion, big turning point in this game, because we took out a light tank like that, like he was full HP, and yeah, he was gone in a matter of seconds. And this guy's name was Spot Noob Light. Like this is the, how can I say, the mood or the attitude of chat in this game. This is why I tell you guys never listen to chat, because this is literally what people will say in the chat. Like this is the whole attitude of the chat, man, of the World of Tanks chat. Not the community. Keep that in mind. Just the chat, the people that talk in the chat. Yeah, we almost made 3,000 combined here, guys. It wasn't bad at all. We're at 807 experience. We were, what, 5th here? I mean, it wasn't a crazy game, but I think it's very informative to show you guys even average games. If there are things in the game that I know that I can show you guys and that you can likely learn from, right? I'm never going to even bring you guys a game where I did like 10,000 combined if it was just some garbage game with really bad players on the enemy team and I just got really lucky. Like, I don't think you're going to learn from that. I want to bring you content that you're going to learn from, and I want it to be informative. So just keep that in mind. I have really great games sometimes, but if I feel like you guys aren't going to learn from it, I probably won't bring it to the channel, right? I'm not here trying to like brag about my insane games. I'm here to help you guys out and make you feel more comfortable in your light tanks. So that was it. Yeah, this guy did pretty good in the AMX M4. Our T57 Heavy had an insane game. Our VZ55 had an insane game. These guys played very, very well. Props to them. And we lost 33K, guys. The T54 lightweight is not a premium. It is what it is. And yeah, 7-minute battle. So I hope this helps you out with Ghost Town. Hope it helps you out with light tanks. Hope it helps you out with the game mechanics. If you like what you see, guys, please subscribe. The videos that I'm doing right now on the map strategy have gotten a lot of attention, so I do appreciate all the subscriptions, but the more subs I get, the more I'm like so excited about trying to get to 1,000 subs as my big goal. I already have the watch hours to be monetized, so if I get to 1,000 subs, that would literally like be the most exciting thing ever. So if you guys do enjoy what you see, do sub, but I also want you to enjoy the content. So don't sub if you don't enjoy the content. But again, liking and commenting also helps me out, and it helps you guys out because the video gets recommended more. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Hope you learned a thing or two. I'll catch you for the next one. Take care. Bye-bye now.